This is the Fifth Estate Winning Headlines, your media police post. In this segment, we analyze some of the headlines that you might have missed this morning, and we also take a look at the political pieces that we call cartoons in this country. Today is the 30th of August, 2019, and I am DM.
I am Turum.
And I am Ms. K, your host. Again, in case you missed it, this is Winning Headlines. Let's take a look at today's headlines. The Star, sex scandal rocks Prophet Owo's church.
Wow.
Trust the Star. The Standard, MP's secret card to stop Punguza Mizigo bill, and Daily Nation, dying giant, nut in fight for survival.
Wow.
Punchy
Let's
day for
start
the headlines.
with this secret card to stop Punguza Mizigo bill.
You know, before we start, let me give you a story.
Okay.
A story is told of an African buffoon who told someone, yes, a buffoon. He told someone that he wants to go to the sun. And that someone told him, you cannot go to the sun, it's too hot, you will melt. And the guy said, you think I'm stupid, I will go at night. You see,
The moral of this story
With
Moral-
regards to Punguza Mizigo.
moral of the story is this: these MPs are not very clever.
They're going to the sun at night.
Yes, because they think a small loophole in timelines, that if the Constitution says without delay, it has not put timelines there. What makes them think that someone will not go to the court to the, what's it called? Judicial interpretation, and the court will decide to rule in a certain way.
Absolutely. This is all about constitutional interpretation.
Yeah.
And there's two very interested parties here.
Yeah.
There's one, the IEBC, as the executor of
Yes.
this whole process.
Yeah.
And then there's Punguza Mizigo as the originators of this process.
Yeah.
One of these two is going to come forward, and I'm sure Ms. K has an explanation of how things can pan out.
Absolutely.
Thanks for putting me in the spot there. But I will say this.
Yeah.
Is there a loophole? Yes,
Yes.
there is a loophole.
Right.
Why? Article 257 of the Constitution gives how you can have a referendum by popular initiative, which
Yes.
is what is happening here.
Yeah.
So you have an originator, they come up with a bill, they give it to IEBC,
Yes.
IEBC verifies their signatures, sends it to the counties.
Yeah.
Counties have a fixed timeline, 3
Yes.
months in which to look at it,
Yeah.
and also a fixed threshold.
Yeah.
Half of them have
Yes.
to
Absolutely.
agree to it.
24.
Then
Yes.
they hand it over without delay to the main house.
The
Yes.
Constitution
The National
itself says
Assembly.
without delay.
Without
But that's
delay.
the last time we hear about timelines.
Absolutely.
But now here's the thing.
Yes.
Without delay,
Yeah.
yes, it's ambiguous.
Yes.
And yes, is the loophole that they want to use. They
Absolutely.
want to sit on it
Yeah.
and wait until
Yeah.
they
Until-
when the stars align, and then they
Yeah.
will look at the referendum bill.
Yeah.
Yes.
But here's the thing. What you do at that moment without introducing it to Parliament is
Yeah.
you initiate another arm of government
Absolutely.
called the judiciary.
Judiciary, yes.
And this judiciary can be initiated right now.
Yeah.
Preemptively, Ekuru can go to court and say, how long is without delay?
Delay.
Then the
Oh.
judiciary gives its interpretation and
Yes.
gives and presents very solid timelines within
Absolutely.
which the National Assembly has to
Absolutely.
They
and
have to
move this process
Yes,
forward.
Yeah.
but here's the thing I want to tell the National Assembly.
Yeah.
By the time it leaves the counties,
Yeah.
my friend, this
It's
thing has gotten a
finished.
life of its own.
It's
The
Absolutely.
war was lost at the counties.
Absolutely.
Yes, you do want to stop it.
Yes.
Frustrate getting 24.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
all you have
That's
to do.
it.
And I think they only have about 2 months. It's already been a month, I suppose.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This is
Quicker.
what I said.
Yeah.
So
the
keep it in the parking bay.
Yes.
The
Keep it in the
headline.
parking bay.
Okay.
We have a 3-part criteria that we use to break down headlines for you. We ask ourselves 3 questions.
Yeah.
Is the headline topical, or is it speculative? Is it repetitive, or is it groundbreaking? And finally, is it thoughtful or just plain lazy?
Yeah.
This one just hovers there somewhere.
Yes.
Just keep it there for a moment.
Yes.
Let's deal with salacious, scandalous things. Sex scandal rocks Prophet Owo's church.
Now, it just so happens, Prophet Owo's number 2 and head of security was doing some bad things, but he was let go by Prophet Owo. And I
He
think
was fired
he was fired.
for sexual misconduct.
Absolutely.
For eating the flock
The
rather than
flock.
feeding it.
Wow. I love that Christian joke.
Lamb chops.
Go with the story. Give us context.
Yeah.
So he was fired.
The guy was fired. But I think the Star needed to sell a headline. So they put the picture of Prophet Owo there. In fact, it was Prophet Owo. I'll probably even think of suing them. Because it is actually suggesting he's the one who was doing this.
He was participating. But
Yes.
remember also that the Star has a history with Prophet Or. I think it was a few months ago
that they had
when they had a series of headlines actually about a contestation with his member of his church, something like that.
Property and who said that they were taking undue advantage of him. It was casting him in bad light, whatever it was at that time. But here you have to bear in mind that they were not privy to this, and they were not happy about it. When it came to light, the guy was fired.
So the headline should have been Prophet Or fires assistant or whatever he is for sexual misconduct.
But guys, I also want to go at our brotherhood, our congregation, no?
Oh, the congregation.
Those ones are fine today.
Okay. They have a day off.
Guys, let's look at South Korea. It's a Buddhist country. So is China, so is Japan. Look at African countries. Every Sunday, every single church is full. I am not saying Christianity is bad, and maybe this argument is sensitive, but we have allowed ourselves to be lied to by people who say they are men of God.
Are you saying there's something wrong with Africans?
By the way,
there's something about Africans that is
I don't think it's an African affliction. I think it's a global phenomenon. People, men and women, are attracted to magnetic, charismatic people with oratory skills, and above all this, some of them even perform magic.
Yes.
Of course, the seduction happens even before.
You know, there's this guy, I will not mention his name. He put something on in a bucket of water, and he told
potassium manganese.
You don't have to mention his name. The Star did when they gave the timeline of church scenes.
Fantastic.
If I could call them that.
Okay, tell me his name. I want to.
Kanyari.
Victor Kanyari. I actually think this guy is brilliant. He should be an entrepreneur.
He actually is. Yeah. And his price tag is 370 shillings.
He tells someone to put a bucket in a bucket of water, then pours that sodium. What do you call it?
Permanganate.
Then he turns red in color.
Those are the scenes being washed out of your body.
And then he's doing this in the bucket, and they say he's exorcising demons. And everyone in that church actually believes him. I think if you're to pull that stuff in the West or in China, you will do it alone because nobody would believe you. But there's something about Africans. I don't know what it is. I cannot tell you what it is.
Stop blaming the victim.
I know.
This is a bad headline. In my view, speculative, lazy.
Finally, Daily Nation, dying giant, not in fight for survival.
Can Chuma die? Metal.
Okay, I'm sorry I started this. This is a day of bad jokes.
What's the context?
Give us the context of the story.
Context of this is Nat is losing its stitches to Kopet, and Sosion is about to get kicked out. And I'm saying, what is wrong with that? It's like saying, what do they want us to do? Prepare a funeral program?
But Sosion is a special one. He's not just Nat Head.
Yes.
He's also a nominated MP.
Yeah.
And to get that position, he was voted in. So he has a constituency of people, a community of interest.
He should just relax, go concentrate on being nominated, and then leave Nat.
But as you guys rightfully mentioned yesterday, this is a political battleground between two honchos.
Yes.
And they are?
William Ruto and Raila Odinga.
So it's going to play out for at least
5
more headlines.
Also, we think
5 more headlines.
Yes.
So for that reason, I say we toss it because we can always discuss it next week.
But it also did not lift the veil of ignorance, in my view.
Absolutely.
That gives us the standard, and I think that's our winning headline.
Yeah.
I say I applaud any editor who puts the word secret for me to buy the paper and use it. Our winning headline from the standard. Yeah. On to our next segment, the political pieces that we call cartoons in this country. Just like the headlines, we have a 3-part criteria that we use to break them down for you. We ask ourselves 3 questions. Is a cartoon humorous or is it dry? Is it satirical or is it pessimistic? And finally, is it effective or just plain lazy?
This hairline I know. Caricature. Of Kenya Film Classification Board, I think chair, Ezekiel Mutua. And he's been drawn like a CCTV camera. And something plugged to his ears. And the caption is, with sensors, this is what he's saying. With sensors done, every home will have to install me to ensure that we monitor what our children watch.
And what's the mouse saying?
The mouse is saying, and you'll have to pay for it. Look, guys, I have 2 things to say.
Yes.
One bad, one, anyway, they're all bad.
Say them.
I don't appreciate being told how to behave in my own house and what to watch.
Big Brother is watching.
Yes. However, because I think he was expressing his opinion, which is okay, if it was in Northern, I would have a problem with it. Yeah.
And the second thing?
That was the second thing. That was the second thing. But let me give this thing context. The reason we're talking about Ezekiel Mutua is because he tweeted the other day that this song called WAMLAMBEZ, you know that song? Mnyonyez and Tetema should not be watched outside of clubs or should not be listened to.
And should not be aired during watershed hours.
That's 5 a.m. to 10 p.m.
Absolutely. But then I also think that this song called WAMLAMBEZ or Mnyonyez, which I'm sure you all know, is more than a song. It's actually signs of, my view, a revolution within our youth.
So it's the anthem for a movement.
It's
That's
an
what you're
anthem
saying.
for a movement.
Oh, it has the potential to be.
And if I was someone who wanted to take over government and to uproot a sitting government,
You appropriate that song.
yes.
Yeah, you just go to a rally and say, we are going to WAMLAMBEZ,
Yes,
these people.
Oh my God.
Trying to contextualize it.
But guys, imagine this. A guy somewhere in Gidorai. Imagine this. Someone in Gidorai goes to say, oh, this government has really downtrodden on all. It's messing us up. There's no money in the economy. We are frustrated. And then there are big speakers and over 100,000 people are in this stadium, and then this song starts playing. And this
I also have two things to say, just like you two. The first thing,
I don't know where we're going today.
Who died and made Alfred Mutua the moral police of this country?
Absolutely fantastic.
Ezekiel Mutua, apologies. Apologies, Machakos people. Even this camera looks very invasive. You see the head. The head is jutting out.
Yeah.
Yes.
But the second thing I want to say is this.
Yeah.
He's only going to achieve the opposite effect. You know, the Streisand effect.
Absolutely.
When you try
What
to
is that?
censure something, this is what it is. When you try to censure something, or when you try to ban it, you get the opposite effect of it becomes more popular.
Absolutely.
More people will get to see it. More people will get to enjoy it.
In fact, the people who didn't know what that song was until it was banned, then they went to look for it and now know it.
Even our
can't get it out of their
grandparents at
head.
this point know it. So it's actually having
you
unintended consequences.
So what did you say about this cartoon? What do you say about this cartoon? I say we toss it.
Let it just stay in the parking
bay.
You guys, toss it.
Have mercy, host.
Okay, mercy has been
Have
granted.
some mercy. These biblical things, all right?
Victor Dula caricature, not a caricature, a drawing of what is a representation of the Tower of Babel. In fact, it's obviously said there, NCCK Tower of Babel, built by Bibles.
Yes.
And you have clergymen on different steps on this tower, saying different things and obviously not communicating with each other.
Yeah.
So the thing is that they don't have a difference in language, they just have a difference in ideas
And opinion.
and opinions, and that's why they are on the Tower of Babel.
Let me ask you.
This is a reach in my view.
Let me ask you. Did God tell people not to build a kingdom towards heaven?
No, he didn't.
Oh, okay.
But we can go and read that story in the Bible and see what they did is that they came together to try and make sure they do not have a flood.
I think the dustbin is waiting for this.
Even for that amount, I don't understand why you're waiting on it. But it's okay, let's wait.
Yeah. This
Ozone.
is, Ozone, caricature of SG himself, of Nat, Wilson Sosion. And he's being pushed out of Nat, yes. And
by someone who's saying out.
But
what do you think Sosion is saying?
He's saying it is improper to chase the Secretary General. This is Kenya. It is not a dictatorship. He does.
Oh my gosh, stop it. This cartoon is brilliant. It is hilarious. On two accounts. See how he's using his limbs to
hold himself
to bar his exit, number one. And then number two, Ozone has done a perfect caricature of Socio. That is just him, copy-paste his face.
So, guys,
exactly.
After we have died of laughter, please toss the standard.
I will do that. I will do that.
We have a winning cartoon from Ozone of the Star.
It is humorous. It is absolutely everything.
What is our final thought this Friday?
And can I do it in Sosion's voice?
Please indulge us.
And now our final thought. And now our final thought. It is inspired by accidental discoveries.
This week we've been looking at innovations and inventions. And on Monday we started with looking at inventions that were not accepted and were generally resisted until everyone decided that they loved them and couldn't do without them. And here we looked at cars, electricity, forks, and potatoes.
Yes.
Then we decided to ask a question on Wednesday. Can you inspire innovation? Can you use something like, for instance, a prize to get people to innovate? And we discovered, yes, you can. Here we have the DARPA challenges of the modern day.
Yes.
And in the 1700s, the British were the first to try it with the longitude prize. And that's how we got how we measure longitude today.
Absolutely.
Then today we want to flip it and ask, can you get an innovation when you weren't even looking for one? Can you have an accidental innovation?
Absolutely.
And the answer is a resounding yes. In fact, there is so many of them that we referred to 2 books when we were looking into this. The first one is Serendipity, Accidental Discoveries in Science. This is by Royston M. Roberts. And the other one is Mistakes That Worked, 40 Familiar Inventions and How They Came to Be by Charlotte Falls Jones. So there's so many of them, and we just picked on a few. I'll start with the X-ray, something that we still use to date.
Yes.
So this was discovered accidentally by a professor called Wilhelm Röntgen.
Yeah.
He was a professor in a university in Germany, Bavaria then.
Yeah.
And he discovered X-rays accidentally while he was working on cathode rays. I'll take you back to your physics classes. Remember the cathode rays where you put some electrons through a vacuum and then they emit some beams?
Yeah.
That's what he was doing. And he was trying to see if those beams can actually go through glass.
Yes.
But as he was doing this, he discovered that it can actually go through human tissue and expose the bones that are within, and hence discovered
X-rays.
the X-ray.
A similar innovation that was again using vacuum tubes was the microwave. So this guy called Percy Spencer was working with vacuum tubes, and he was trying to experiment on radar.
Yes.
Then he discovered that he had a chocolate in his pocket, and this chocolate was melting much faster than it should have. And it had something to do with what he was doing. So he decided, let me try and put popcorn, see what happens there. He put in popcorn, the popcorn popped. And this guy was also on the side, he had a side hustle. He used to get patents. He had 100 patents to his name.
So immediately he knew he was onto a good thing.
And he went, patented it, and now we have microwaves in all our homes.
Lazy cooks around the world.
Sharp guy. do you know brandy? You've drunk brandy before?
No.
You haven't?
No. Never. No. It has never touched my lips.
Lips that have touched alcohol shall never touch mine.
Okay. I think I have. But anyway.
You're allowed.
Remember
the free country.
Yeah. You know, brandy comes from the word branch wine. Right, and that's a Dutch word. And the reason it's a Dutch word is because of this. There was a trader somewhere in Europe who used to go and get wine from all parts of France and that kind of thing. And then he would transport them by ship to a port in Netherlands. Now, that wine used to be in casks, wooden casks.
Yeah.
And the reason why the reason he used to put them in casks first is he used to boil the wine, and when he boils the wine so that the water can evaporate, but when he gets to the other side in Netherlands he adds water, and the reason he used to do that is because of this. First, he didn't want to pay tax, but second, it would give him a little bit more space to export as much wine as he wanted.
Then he dilutes it
ahead.
That makes sense.
Yes. But the more he did this, he discovered that after he has already boiled the wine and he gets to Netherlands, because now it's a low quantity, that wine would taste so good because it has brought in all the wooden flavors. And this thing would taste nothing like wine, but it tasted better.
And he decided to coin that thing and call it brandy.
He called it branch wine. And branch wine stands for burnt wine.
Wow.
So he took that. Can you imagine an innovation to run away from KRA and Kinoti and Haji?
Therefore, this you've given a silver lining to people calling karaoke.
Yes,
and Humphrey Kimani an idea.
Humphrey karaoke.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. You might think you might earn so many taxes from this product. But just what if what these people are doing, chini ya maji, will actually raise a product, maybe let's call it kukukaranga, that will even give us more taxes as Kenya. This is innovation.
Speaking of drinks, another drink that is very pervasive, everybody has
drunk it,
tasted it.
That one I've tasted.
Coca-Cola.
Yes.
And this also started accidentally. This was by an entrepreneur. His name was John Pemberton. Actually, he was a pharmacist.
Yes.
He was a pharmacist.
Yeah.
And he had this concoction of wine and cola.
And a bit of cocaine.
An extract of coca.
Yes.
Cocoa.
Yes.
So he used to sell it as a headache reliever,
Yes,
and
yes.
also would calm the nerves.
Yes.
This was in the 1800s.
Yeah.
So later on, in around, I think, 1885, when the prohibition started, this was in Atlanta,
Yeah.
he now had to innovate and get a drink that he can sell to the masses because there was a gap.
Yes.
Alcohol was no longer being sold.
Okay.
So he mixed this concoction
Yeah.
with carbonated water, making it
Wow.
soda.
Yes.
And that's how we get
Needless to say,
Yeah, yeah.
now in 2019, we are
Yes.
still drinking Pemberton's drink.
And in
Yes.
the same formula, by the way, that one is not
Hasn't
protected by
changed.
law.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And there's one more thing that I want to talk about, my medical interventions.
Yes.
And I'll talk about penicillin. I
Yeah.
think we all know about penicillin, we all know about Alexander Fleming,
Yeah.
and I think I can, for me, it was the textbook, Kasuku at the back there,
Yeah.
the story, and I read
Absolutely,
it.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes,
so
yes.
we talked about this guy who had an experiment that he was doing,
Yeah.
and he left out for 2 weeks, I think it was pure laziness,
Yes.
a culture.
Yeah.
And when he came back, he found out that there was a mold that had inhibited
Yes.
the growth of the culture.
Yes.
And that became penicillin, our
Yeah.
first antibiotic.
Wow.
Wow. And he saved the world, actually. A lot of populations
Oh, yes,
were dying
were
from
dying.
bacterial infections, things that could be treated. And then came penicillin.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the final one I think that I will say today is Teflon.
Yes.
Teflon is what we call non-stick pans.
Yeah.
So everybody who uses a non-stick pan, that black thing that's on the pan is
Yes,
called Teflon.
Teflon. Oh.
This guy was doing a different experiment. He was trying to find out
Yeah.
how to pollute our world. He was
Yes.
trying to look for a chlorofluorocarbon
Yeah.
for a refrigerator.
Yes.
Then he discovered this substance, and
Yes.
this substance that nothing could stick on, would burn,
Yeah.
and wouldn't emit, and wouldn't react or have the food stick on it.
Yeah.
And he put it on pans, and now we have Teflon
Yes.
on our non-stick pans.
Absolutely.
Do you have one more? Do you
Yes.
have time for one more
Yeah,
in
we
the
can- we can-
medical world?
Yeah,
One more.
we can do insulin. You know, there's two doctors in 1889, right? And they wanted to see how the pancreas affected digestion. So they went and looked for a healthy dog of all creatures, and they removed this pancreas from the dog. And sooner rather than later, they saw that this dog, whenever it peed, there were so many flies surrounding the pee. And they realized, they went and took the pee and they tested it.
And it has-
Tasted or tested?
Tested, like with test tubes.
That's a good question.
Test tubes. And they discovered this pea has so much sugar. And what they did not realize is what the pancreas actually released then, so that they can control the blood sugar level. But much later, about 20 years later, in University of York in Canada, scientists decided to check out this pancreas. And they realized that there is a form of the substance that is secreted, and it's called insulin. And this insulin material is what controls and regulates the blood sugar. And a year later, a company just went, manufactured insulin, and that is why we can cure diabetes today, or regulate
Control
or
and
maintain
regulate it.
Yes.
That's
This
amazing.
is winning headlines. Today we had a winning headline from The Standard and a winning cartoon from of The Star.
Yeah.
I will end with a word. We have not done a book, so many books this week, so
Yes.
I will end with a word and educate us on it.
Yeah.
And the word is serendipity.
Yes.
Serendipity means a happy accident.
Hey.
And I'll give you the origin of this word. It was first used by a guy called Horace Walpole in 1754 in a letter, in which he said, "This discovery is of that kind I call serendipity." A very expressive word. He was basing it on a Persian fairy tale from the 1400s about three princes called the Three Princes of Serendip. It was a story about heroes who were always making discoveries by accident of things they were never in quest of.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we've talked about this week. You can start out with a problem and go about fixing it. Or you can sometimes find genius by chance and not by choice.
Amen.
Don't forget to subscribe to this channel, and we are available on your TV screens. Take a moment to look for us. We are on Pan, Free to Air, GoTV, and StarTimes. Have a great week, encounter some serendipity, and see you next week.